But for babies, not so much. They're born with no background information. Zilch. They don't even know how to control their own bodies, let alone understand the autonomy of others. Think about it. A newborn can't grasp that their flailing arm belongs to them. It's just this thing moving around in their field of vision. It's like waking up in a foreign country where you don't speak the language or understand the customs. Babies are trying to make sense of a world where literally everything is new, confusing, and overwhelming. Now, they do figure out pretty quickly that crying gets results. Hungry? Cry. Wet diaper? Cry. Want to be held? Cry. It's not sophisticated, but it works. From their perspective, they might as well be controlling their parents because crying usually leads to action. But even then, they don't get that their parents are separate individuals making choices. To a baby, the world is a single, continuous experience, and mom is at the center of it all. Let's get psychological for a second. When you and I look in a mirror, we know the reflection is just an image of ourselves. A baby? Not so much. That reflection might as well be another baby. And the idea that other people have their own thoughts? Forget about it. Babies don't even know their own thoughts. They're just riding the roller coaster of existence, reacting to whatever happens next. This is why babies don't start with a sense of self. They can't yet comprehend that their arms, legs, and even their feelings belong to them. In the first few months, it's all just sensations and reactions. For them, mom isn't just a person. They're a concept, a source of warmth, comfort, and survival. Mom equals good. Here's a fun example. Peekaboo. To you, it's a silly game. To a baby, it's mind-blowing. Why? Because babies don't start out with object permanence, the understanding that things exist even when you can't see them. So, when you hide your face, you're literally disappearing from their world. When you pop back up, it's like magic. No wonder they laugh. And it's not just objects. Babies don't have a reference point for anything outside themselves. When my firstborn started noticing their feet, it was like they'd discovered a new planet. Whoa, what are these, and why do they move when I think about them? It's adorable, but it's also a sign of progress. They're starting to piece together the puzzle of self and other. As a first-time mom, let me tell you, those early months are a trip. You're recovering from childbirth, running on no sleep, and trying to keep a tiny human alive. And on top of that, you're figuring out where you end and your baby begins. It's not just the baby who struggles with this, moms do too. I remember talking to my therapist during pregnancy, and she suggested I communicate my feelings to the baby. I thought, sure, why not? But then it hit me. My baby wasn't a mind reader. If I wanted to communicate, I'd have to speak out loud. That was the first time I realized that even though we were physically connected, we were still two separate people. After birth, that line between mom and baby stays blurry for a while. Babies are learning how to breathe, eat, and even fart. Everything is new. And because they've been with mom from the start, she's their entire world. It's why babies can pick their mom's breast pads out of a lineup. They're hardwired to recognize and rely on her. Around 8 months, something fascinating happens. Babies start to realize that mom isn't just an extension of themselves. She's a separate person who can walk away, and that's terrifying. This is when 8-month anxiety kicks in. Suddenly, other people are scary, even if they're loving adults the baby knows. Mom is the safe zone, and being apart from her feels like the end of the world. Individuation, the process of becoming a separate self, isn't just physical. It's deeply psychological. It happens gradually, over years. Even now, as an adult, I sometimes wonder about the boundaries of self. Is my phone part of me? My car? My favorite coffee mug? Babies don't just ask these questions, they live them. Babies are like little scientists, constantly experimenting and learning. They're wrong about a lot, but they're also right about the most important stuff: love, connection, and the joy of discovery. Watching them figure it all out is one of life's greatest privileges. So the next time you play peekaboo or watch a baby stare at their hands in awe, remember, you're witnessing the beginning of a journey we're all still on, figuring out who we are and how we fit into this big, beautiful world.